I'd like to preview my chatbot with everyone. This is using OpenAI as a backend, and I want to explain why. So if you search for OpenAI model pricing, you should get a price list. So OpenAI is significantly cheaper, especially for teams, than most of the other services. Now I know that Gemini and some of these other products are going to be rolled into a license. I'm not sure how much you've used Gemini or used Copilot, but the results I get are not as good. So I also want quality in the work that I'm doing, and the ability within the OpenAI system to really craft your prompting so that students and teachers and everyone else can get reliable and consistent output is just as important as anything else. I mean, what if the product's free but the quality is bad? So the pricing, especially for the mini model, is great, and the size and throughput for the tokens is huge. So this is why I'm using OpenAI. It's really the cost, because the question wasn't, hey, what's the best AI for people? It's for teams, and we want to be able to use it for teams. And there's two ways to use it for teams. One, everybody on the team has their own AI to use that's centrally paid for. And the other way is that we could add the AI to a group chat, and when we want to include it, we could do hashtag AI, and then it would be part of the conversation, and then when we don't want it to be a part of the conversation, we don't hashtag the topic. That's the entire concept behind the design. The other thing that you can do when you're using OpenAI versus some of these other ones is you actually can send OpenAI data within your Google Workspace that is private, and it's going to process it and give you information, but it does not store it. It's stateless. So you can use student data and not worry about it as long as your controls within your Google Workspace are set. And controls, I mean who is allowed to access it. That's it. Like, what group of people are allowed to access this data, and then the AI can use it, and you're not worried about the AI storing it. And I added some other features too, just for fun, but also for convenience. And so this is one that I've added. So I always do a little bit of test right now in the beta setup to make sure everything is online. And oh, there we go. So the AI is online. I just do a little cheap test. And so if I do web, so maybe I'm in the AI and I just want some results from the internet for a topic to be summarized. You can see I asked about a stock ticker symbol up here. I could do Tokyo tourism. And what this does is it does a web search and then summarizes the results, and then kicks back some information, and then gives me some links so I can follow up. And I like that because, again, a team-based tool, let's say we're all working in a group chat on something, you could hashtag web and get these results and everybody has it. And this does work on your phone because I'm using Google Chat, so it works directly on your phone. It's very easy to implement and everyone can have it. And if you're using the Google Workspace system for work accounts, this is even better because when an employee leaves, you can just remove all of this from their mobile device. It's great. All right, and I've got Wikipedia built in. So let's say I want to know, now if you've used Wikipedia, you know you can get a lot of results. And sometimes the further down the results page you get, the less relevant it is. So let's say I want to know what Wikipedia says about Tokyo, and I want 3 results. What I've done is, with OpenAI, you can build parameters, so additional information to get better quality output. And one of the coolest things that you can do is you can specify the model that you want to use. And I assign my models different names. So my mini model is called Fast, and my expensive model that does all the high-end calculations that OpenAI raves about is called HAL. just like the sci-fi movie. So I can put in a query and put HAL and I get different results. But it is more expensive, so that's an option. But you can add little things in to give the AI more information if maybe you have a prompt set up that you're using on the back end and it needs a little bit more detail. You don't have to go in and fully change the prompting. What I just said too about having a prompt on the back end, that's what all of the main system schools are testing or licensing have. So when you're using it, the prompts are locked in, and the reason that they're locked in is to limit the amount of data you can get back and forth to control cost and make sure that you're not getting content that you shouldn't be getting. So if you have something that's student facing, the prompts are actually all pre-built and you cannot change them. If you deploy a chatbot for your students through Google Workspace, you can change the prompting whenever you want. You can even make different chatbots. So you can make a chatbot for each grade level or each type of course. You could have a science chatbot that is just loaded with information to help it produce results for the science department. And believe it or not, it's not that difficult to do. Now let's look at some additional features. So this is in a Google Doc. You can see that this is a link in a Google Doc. Now the question is, how can I work with documents through OpenAI without sending OpenAI the document? Now I have actually built a Python interface that does a similar thing. And the way that this works is Python actually converts the documents and then sends the data. So that means when you upload, it's uploading into something and it's staying there to convert it. Is it deleting it? We don't know. We're not really sure long-term what happens. There's going to be some type of retention policy, but I doubt we have full control. So sending, for example, a spreadsheet of student names, ages, grades, student ID numbers into the system might not be a great idea because you can't actually say for sure what happens. So your controls could be on paper, but you can't verify your controls. And I use that word a lot, controls, because that's really what we're talking about if we ever get into a lawsuit. They're going to want to know, how did you control for data leaking? How did you control for sharing this with the wrong audience? So from the top level umbrella point of view, we don't want to implement new software or solutions that could put the organization at risk. So this is why I'm always speaking about controls. All right, so we have this. I forget where I got this. It's just a demo that we're going to work with. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to just reuse this. So in this case, hashtag doc is going to tell that AI this is a Google document. Now this is important because the AI needs to know what it's dealing with. Yes, you can build in some type of auto detection system where it looks at things and says type of this, do this. However, I get significantly better results if I simply add a hashtag so the AI is like, hey, Google document coming my way. If you wanted to process anything else, and I'll show you a sheet next, you just need to make a declaration, which isn't very hard to do, to let it know, hey, when you get a doc, do this before you send it to the AI. You're really just telling the chatbot how to convert the data so that the AI can read it. So instead of uploading, all it's going to do is get a stream of data from this document, and hopefully it will give me a return. There we go. That's pretty good, and I like that, and I don't have to upload it. It's just looking at documents. Now, if you build a plugin into Drive, which I have also done, you can run all of this stuff directly on your documents, but it gets a little bit tedious. And again, we're looking at a tool for teams, and I find that the chat system is really good for teams. It's good for chatting, and you can set up a space like down here, and you can add the chatbot, and everyone can participate. And again, you just include the AI with hashtags and tell it what to do whenever you want it to do something. Here's a fun one. Let's look at some data. So this is just a spreadsheet. I have put in countries, tourist sites, population. I'm telling it's a sheet, and I want the mean population. Now, when you're working with sheet data, you can develop a prompt just for certain types of data. And you can control the output. So right now I'm just asking it basically to give me a text-based response. But you don't have to do that. You can also do charts and other things, and you can build that into the prompt. So let's say that on a regular basis, I'm processing student grades or attendance, then I would probably make a hashtag attendance or hashtag grades or hashtag assessment or something like that, so that it knows, this is going to be a set of data, it's going to be about this topic, and I could even say it's going to be grades, attendance. You can put all of it together, but just streamline it down so that it knows what it's going to be. Let it know the type of data you're sending it, and then you can tell the prompt, I want this back so I can paste it into blank, or this is going to be emailed as a chart. And then you can get a chart. You can get a format that works for what you're doing. You don't just have to get a summary like this. But it's very cool. It reads the data, and that was fast. Okay, so if you were to upload that into OpenAI, like I have a paid version of ChatGPT. I have the pro version paid. I can tell you, you don't get that data back as quickly. It does come back, but it's not as fast as what you just saw. And for a team to be able to do this, again, not everyone has to do this. One person could be doing analytics for attendance. One person could be doing grades. One person could grab MAP scores, summaries from your school, and compare it to what's happening in the world with publicly available data sets. There's just a lot you can do right in this window. And you don't have to add additional software, you don't have to have a database, you're just using the AI to do what it does, which is to read data. And let's look at how we can get some more interesting data. So I loaded up a few examples here, and I'm going to do them in real time so you can see them. I actually built a little charting prompt just to instruct the AI that I need something that's more chart formatted. So it should send me some kind of ASCII chart like this that I can copy and paste into a document. But I also can do this. So I'm asking it to, sorry, I didn't get all the data in the grab. To give me something that is in comma separated value format so I could put it into a text file, save it, and upload it into a system. And there you go. And it's very clean and easy to copy and paste. Here's another example of formatting. So if you do coding, you can tell it, for example, I need a JSON structure that holds the data above in a video game format. Because I'm going to use it in the video game, so I want it in JSON, and I'm going to use it in JavaScript. So let's see if we can do that. And you might be wondering how this works. Well, when the AI sends the data back into Google Workspace itself makes some decisions about the formatting. So it says, this seems like a code block, so it formats it as a code block. The AI isn't even really handling that. That saves you a lot on processing and on tokens and everything else. You're basically offsetting some of the AI costs just using the Google Workspace tools that are built in. The final thing I would like to demonstrate are school templates. For example, writing a letter to parents or an email or whatever to let them know there's a problem. You can build, and I have a parent template built, and it tells the AI the type of language I want to use and the type of voice I want to use, and other things about the output, so that if anybody uses it, they get very similar sounding letters. And the format is approved, and we would just say professional. So the teacher would need to put in some general information, and then hashtag parent lets it know to use the parent template. You can do this with comments, so I've been working with a comment template as well, and that's very cool because it generates comments based on a comment writing policy. So anything built around a policy that people need to follow or a rubric, you can actually build that in so the AI can reference it as long as you hashtag it, so it knows what to reference. Alright, that wraps everything up, and it can do a lot more. I'm scaling this up this week on Wednesday and adding more and more people to it. Based on my estimations, I believe a population of about 1,000 users keeps everything from being excessively expensive. I don't think there will be any charges at all on the Google end. I think all that will be free with 1,000 total users. And the goal now is to see how much per month it costs to run the OpenAI backend. My current prediction is it's going to be about $50 or $60 a month during the high academic points of the year. So let's say about 7 months out of the year, it's going to be about $60 a month. And then in the slow periods, it's going to be $20 a month. So that's what I'm predicting. So we'll see how that works when we scale it up. In terms of concurrency, meaning how many people can use it at the same time, the math says around 100 people can send a request at the same second. Now, I'm going to add some controls for that after I see what kind of errors I get. The main error that I get when I use the system is actually from Google and not from the AI. Google throws up a bunch of errors, but those errors can actually be ignored, and once they're ignored, most users recover within a few seconds. So I know some people are thinking about that. Will it actually work for a team? Yes, it will work for a team, especially if you consider that a school of 1,000 to 2,000 students is going to have somewhere between 230 and 350 employees, and of those, not everyone's going to use it at the same time. So it should be completely fine. And you can also have a good time, you can have fun. So here's my weather app, and I'm in Mississippi, and it's gonna pull from OpenWeather's API. So that's actually at a base station in a place called Sherwood Forest, so it's not fake, that's what it's called. And it pulls the current weather as of right now. It gives me the historic weather, so it tells me what the temperature was in 1994. And it always gives me a quote from a sci-fi hero or captain. I created a list of them that it pulls from, and it tries to go out and find a quote. I don't know if all the quotes are real, but it's entertaining. So you can do things like this. You can generate images. That's feasible. Image generation does cost more money. I actually use Stability AI to generate images, and they do have to be temporarily stored, so there's a little bit of an overhead with that. But you can generate images if you want, so it's totally possible depending on your budget.